Hey guys, it's your old pal Sam here with my top 10 favorite physical stunts in movie history. Let's get started. These are my personal favorites. If you've got your own list, hit me up in the comment section down below and we'll add those movies to my list. But kicking it off, number 10, Daniel Craig in Casino Royale. The death-defying jump between the cranes. Oh my god, at the time this was voted the best stunt in any James Bond film, and it makes sense, and as a kid, it absolutely blew my mind. What's also impressive, Craig did most of his own stunts in this film. That's him flying around there, throwing himself around, doing flips and whatnot. Probably did a few of the flips. Craig wanted to make it look authentic as possible, and boy howdy, does he make my hands sweat. That's what happens when I get nervous. Number 9, Buster Keaton, the General. Now this stunt might not look like anything at first glance, kind of like just a toy train falling into a toy river, but this shot is the single most expensive shot in the entire era of silent film. There are no second chances with this shot. Buster Keaton and the whole crew were going to crash a real train into the Roe River. Apparently thousands of people came from all around to see them film this scene. There could have been so many things that could have gone wrong, but thankfully, everyone was fine, and it played perfectly, except for I didn't know it was a real train, so there's that. Number 8, Jason Statham in the Crank series. Now, the Crank series is kind of a guilty pleasure for me. It's filled with kaiju fights, a haze of drugs all around you, and silly sci-fi. These films are just chock full of tight action. Let's look at the final fight from the first Crank movie within the helicopter. Now, this is all practical. These men are fighting above LA within a real helicopter. Sure, they have safety cables because they're not entirely insane, but we're only talking about thin little wires separating them from the safety of their helicopter to plummeting to the ground. That's a yikes. Number 7, The Dark Knight, flipping that big rig. Now, most movie fans know this, but for those who don't, Batman taking down the Joker by flipping his big rig is done practically. Mine. The stunt team devised a system that launched the cab of the truck 54 feet up into the air, and based on the layout of LaSalle Street, they only had 2 places they could have launched it. Don't worry though, because they had a guy driving the truck during the entire stunt. Yeah, that's a little guy in there, and during the entire flip. Of course, they had to reinforce the truck with steel or else it would have crumpled and then exploded and taken out a lot of the storefronts, or may have killed the guy on the inside. But anyways, it's still extremely impressive. Number 6, Keanu Reeves in Speed. Keanu Reeves is one of the most dedicated actors when it comes to stunts. Let's take a look back at one of my all-time favorite films, Speed, and notice how most, if not all, of Keanu's stunts in this movie are actually performed by him. Specifically, let's look at that jump from a moving car to a moving bus, going roughly 50 miles per hour, if you know the synopsis of the film. That man's a badass. Moving on. Number 5, Jackie Chan in Police Story. Now, Jackie Chan is the true master when it comes to doing your own stunts, but this one is just downright terrifying when you look at it. In Police Story, we see Chan's character being chased through a mall, and he decides to jump into a lighting fixture and slide down it, like a fireman's pole, into a shopping display below. This is another one-take wonder. If he missed his mark, that would have been it. There was no backup for this. If he had slept too early on his way down, that would have been it. On top of that, the crew wanted most of the lights on this rig to be going to a separate battery on the ground, but because the wires couldn't reach all the way up there, they had to hook up the uppermost lights to the city electricity grid. That's too much power. That could have electrocuted him really easily. Jackie Chan is 10 times the man I'm ever gonna be. That's a fact. Next. Number 4, Zoe Bell, Death Proof. If the main actress of Death Proof looks somewhat familiar, that's because Zoe was Uma Thurman's stunt double in the Kill Bill franchise from Quentin Tarantino. Well, Zoe got to be a leading lady in one of Quentin's follow-up films, Death Proof, and wow, did they pull off some crazy stunts. Let's take a look at her riding on the hood of a car. I'm not seeing any cables or safety features, and they seem to be gunning it down the road. Shout out to Zoe for being an absolute badass and doing things I'd never dream of doing, but these stunts are what make movies special. Number 3, Buster Keaton, Steamboat Bill Jr. The stunt that we've seen time and time again, the gag where the front of the house falls off, but the lead actor just barely is able to dodge the falling debris by standing where the window would fall. You're all safe. Just a few things to think about during this scene specifically. 1, that's not a false wall. That's a fully weighted wall of a house. 2, his mark is just a nail in the ground. 3, most of the crew walked off the set because they weren't going to watch Buster kill himself. And 4, Buster's production company had folded just a day before they shot this scene. He was so distraught that he was quoted saying that he didn't care if he had made it out of the stunt or not. That's a yikes, yikes, yikes. Anywho, number 2, Jackie Chan, Who Am I? Another Jackie Chan stunt that's higher on my list since it's one of the first Jackie Chan films I saw when I was a kid, and I still can't believe they let this man do this. To escape armed assailants, Chan jumps onto the side of a building, sliding down it with no assists. Notice how the shots kind of feel like GoPro footage or like they were rushed and they're not so perfect? That's because they were trying to catch any footage that they could of this man who is literally hurtling off of a building. It's kind of hard for me to watch, I'll be honest, but Jackie, like I said, he's a true king, but there's one stunt more that I need to mention. Number 1, Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation. So Tom Cruise's other stunts deserve honorable mentions, of course, the halo jump and the helicopter chase, you name it, he's killed it. However, the stunt that opened Rogue Nation is one of the dumbest stunts I've ever seen, but I loved it. Not only is Tom Cruise actually hanging onto the side of a plane connected only by a thin needle wire under his jacket, but there are about a million things that could go wrong right here. Let's focus on the main problem. If any tiny little pebble or debris were to be launched up during takeoff, that would have just whizzed right through Cruise's head like he wasn't even there. There aren't any backup features besides that little tiny cable. This man is absolutely insane. But that's why we love these stunts. That's it for me, guys, but let me know what would be on your top 10 list in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.